G'day guys, welcome to PBHQ Live. I'm just getting myself organised here. I am Dwayne Nichols, as per usual. It's a Monday and we're here to talk all things paintball. This is episode number 335. It is February 20. See that Simo is in nice and early. Tom Boyd is in. Susan is in from the US as well. If you are joining in amongst the people joining in early, make sure you say who you are and where you are, and if you got to play on the weekend or if you've got an event coming up. We want to hear everything good, bad, and otherwise about your paintball experiences over the weekend. And I've been speaking to a lot of people about paintball, not just tournament paintball, but how fields are going in the last week. A few field owners have sort of reached out and have been saying a few things about how their numbers have been of their recreational players as well. So let me just click that through there. But yeah, so interested to see across the board how everybody's going, how your team's shaping up for the year. I've got some deals coming up, and I'm talking in particular with some of the sponsors of the show. Some of the products that they've got might be of interest to you and your team as well. So that will all be coming up soon. Aaron Moore is in, Jordan Bradshaw. Jordan saying, what a great weekend. Will McDonald is in, and he's pretending that he's not watching Survivor. You can watch PBHQ on your second screen while your significant other is watching Survivor on the TV. Whatever works for you. Lachlan is in. Estevan from the Wicked Warriors is in as well. Brad Short too. So thank you guys. And in particular, you guys that were playing over the weekend at the Super 7 Semi-Pro, if you could drop a few comments about what you thought about the field, the layout, the paint, the refs, whatever. And if I see it throughout the course of doing tonight's show, I get the chance, I'll give it a little mention. And if you're going to be playing the pro weekend this coming weekend, well, same thing. Let us know who you think the favorite is. How do you think your team's going to go? What are you looking forward to? What do you think of the layout? All that good stuff. Luke from Dubbo is saying that numbers here have dropped a little bit, but starting to pick back up. Yeah, and mentioning the heat, that's absolutely the case here in Wagga as well. This coming weekend's actually a pretty bumper weekend for us, but the numbers have been a little bit down, I would say, the last couple of weeks, but that's been on the back of some pretty consistently like above 35 degree weather here. And I think that's across the board for a lot of fields on the East Coast at least. Jordan says that the semi-pro division was very tight. Teams were all good. Tom Boyd says that the field layout was great. I think I heard that from the EMS guys too, and I think the pro guys are going to like it, and we're all going to get to watch that. But let's get on with the show and get a quick mention here for paintballshop.com. They've got their new, what they're calling their Ventilate custom jerseys now. So these are the jerseys that teams such as Sydney SWAT and the Adelaide Assassins and Wicked Assassins are wearing. So they've rebranded their custom jerseys from paintballshop.com. They're now called Ventilate jerseys, and you can get your team a custom jersey made, whether it's just one for yourself or for your whole team. You can get that through paintballshop.com now. If you're not sure what they look like or what the quality is like, well, you can watch the webcast this weekend and you'll see teams like Sydney SWAT wearing them, and you'll get a fair idea. And they also make other things like hoodies and shorts, t-shirts, all sorts of stuff out of this similar material. So there is an option for you there if you're looking to get your team into some new gear this year, where you can try out the 2023 Paintball Assassin Ventilate jerseys, which, if you went back years ago when Asylum, for example, like 2014-ish, were just sort of getting started in the tournament scene, the jerseys that you got from paintballshop.com, which we got, the quality was really good, but they were heavy, they were padded across the chest, in the shoulders, down the arms. They were quite thick. That was sort of just the style at the time, and a lot of other brands have gone to these really sleek designs. Lightweight, breathable materials, only some reinforcement in the forearm, and just about no one else. And I don't know if that's popular elsewhere around the world, but here in Australia, having a jersey that's anything heavier than it needs to be is a huge disadvantage. It's just every company has gone down the route of using lighter materials, and I think it is for the best. Lachlan says that the field layout was really good and competitive. And yeah, said that the paint might as well have been rubber, Bounce City. I did hear that the paint was a little bit bouncy. That can come along with the heat that you get at this time of year. February is tough for all the teams playing in these conditions. If you're playing an event and it's going to be over sort of 33, 35 degrees, you've got to come up with a way to keep your paint as cool as possible. Don't go and grab it from the office until as late as possible. Let those guys manage the paint as best that they can until you need to. Thankfully in Australia, we have, and I know it's not ideal, but if the paint is bouncy for one team, well, we all shoot the same paint at every event. So it's the same across the board. Whereas at European events, at US events, if your team's sponsored by HK and their paint's garbage on one particular weekend, but then ProShar is putting out unbelievable paint, it changes the game so dramatically from one team to the next. So we're lucky in a sense that that's not the case. But yeah, just dealing with what we've got to deal with as far as paint here in Australia. We've got the challenges right across the board, from places that hit 40 degrees in the summer and you can wake up and be in the negatives in the winter. And some of those places, like Canberra is a great example, you can get both. February can be 40 degrees in Canberra and July can be -5. Simo saying, missing the 2018-2019 crew from Asylum, very competitive. Yeah, I agree, mate. I wish all the boys were still out at the field as often as they were back in the day. Chester is in at the moment. Russell from New Zealand is in. Amir from Malaysia is in as well. Luke is supporting SWAT this coming weekend. We'll talk about that in a sec too. And with the Super 7s weekend coming up, the Ultralight 77s are now back in stock at paintballshop.com. So they will be available for the Super 7s Pro weekend if you're looking for a tank for this season. These have been out of stock for a little while. They sold out towards the back end of last year. They're back in stock now. And if you don't want to get them from paintballshop.com, or you're not going to be at the Super 7s Pro weekend, well, they've got stockists and retailers all across the country and across New Zealand and Asia as well. Go to gladiator.com.au and you can find your nearest Gladiator retailer. You can pick yourself up an Ultralight 77. They've been shipping out to all of the retailers who've been requesting them. So pick one up. Craig from the Adelaide Bounty Hunters checking in. I got a message Tuesday morning of last week. The guys drove through the night after watching the show on Monday night here in Wagga, drove through the night to get back to Adelaide early in the morning, all safely, which is good to hear. I also spoke with the guys, with Fabian from the Lumberjacks earlier today, sent a few texts back and forth. Those guys travelled up from Melbourne to play in the semi-pro division, and they drove up as well. So guys driving from Adelaide, driving from Melbourne to be a part of the Super 7s this year. It's a big commitment, driving 14 and a half or 10 hours each way to go and play paintball. That's a massive effort. So shout out to all of the guys that have done that the past couple of weekends. And when it comes to the pro weekend, it's not uncommon to get guys on planes from out west in Perth, and even in the semi-pro division. The Immortal Knights were back for the first time in a couple of years, playing in the semi-pro division over the weekend. So shout out to those guys too. If Paintball Shop, if PBHQ is not enough paintball content for you tonight, when I finish up in around 15 or 20 minutes time and you're thinking, man, I would love to watch some more paintball content, well, if you have an Amazon Prime account, now in Australia, the Best Kids in Texas doco is available on Amazon Prime. So it has been available on Amazon Prime in the US, but it is now on the Australian Amazon Prime. So if you have Prime Video or a subscription there, you can go and watch the Best Kids in Texas. It runs for about an hour and a half. I was able to watch it first thing this morning, up early with our little 4-month-old girl. Threw on the doco, got to check it out. Shout out to Timmy Colgan, who tipped me off on that one just yesterday. He gave me the word that it was on there. Yeah, it's really cool. Hopefully it'll pop up in some of the suggestions for people to watch something a little bit different. If you're into paintball, which if you're here, you almost certainly are, well, yeah, go and check it out. It's really good for paintball fans who know some of the names and know the stories. You will appreciate it and you will enjoy it. I'm not sure how it will go across to people from outside the paintball industry. Some of the terminology, some of the ways that they just skip through things. Yeah, I just don't know if it'll land with the average audience, but for paintball fans, you'll really enjoy it. I love seeing the story of the guys like Archie Montemayor. He's probably the main one that you'll be familiar with, amongst others, like Grayson Goff and Michael Kovar, a few of those guys that have come up on X Factor over the years. You'll get to see their story, how they came up through Texas. They were playing on competing teams, and then eventually X Factor became a thing, and they just went from strength to strength. And I think they've won something like 10 pro events now in the 15 or so years that they've been playing, all culminating in 2019 when they won the NXL Series title. So Craig saying we'll have to see if you can get a few to drive over to Wagga. Yeah, I think there might only be one spot left for the Wagga 3-man. I don't want to do the sales pitch here and say hurry along, but I did have the spreadsheet open on the weekend, and it looks like that's the case. And in some news, just to touch on the Wagga 3-man, some of our refs, some of the players from here locally in Wagga, and some of the people that wanted to travel from further away have asked if the event could be Sunday only. And I can confirm now that that will be the case. So what we're going to do for the Wagga 3-man is I've got a little bit of paint that I couldn't sell for a tournament or to punters. It's been sitting for a while. It's a little bit oily. It might not be the best paint that I've got, but there's probably 20 to 30 boxes of it. And I've got a few boxes of a little bit older stuff that's still in good nick. And I'm thinking on the Saturday afternoon for the Wagga 3-man from like 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., so the day prior to the event, I'll just charge a field fee of like $30. I'll bring all of that paint out, and as much as you can shoot in those couple of hours, you're free to do that. Get a feel for the layout, have a muck around. It can be 3v3s, 5v5s, it doesn't matter. Whatever the case might be, just get out on the field and play at a cheap rate with some paint that I'm otherwise probably going to throw out. And then we'll kick off the event on the Sunday and rip in. I'm going to cap it at 9 teams now. I've worked out a schedule where we can get through the event with 9 teams all in one day. So that's what I'm looking to do. Tom saying this semi-pro season is going to be a competitive one. Yeah, I heard that from a few people. Sent me messages after like 3 and 4 rounds into the event on Sunday saying, look at the scores. And yeah, it was quite even across the board. So I look forward. I mean, a competitive season makes it enjoyable for everyone. Certain field layouts might suit certain teams. So yeah, John O'Collins asking if I've got a spot for HPR. Yeah, mate, I've included you in that. You're included in the 8 teams. I think it's either 7 or 8 that I've got so far, and Heartbreak Ridge are included in that I haven't announced yet on the page. You may have seen me announcing some of the teams. Top Hat Jokers are included in that. I've been speaking to those guys, so they're looking to come down. We've got teams from here in Wagga, obviously, with Asylum and Anarchy, the new team. Adelaide Assassins are coming over. So yeah, it's shaping up to be a good weekend. Make It Rain from Dubbo also making the trip. So yeah, Saturday afternoon, bit of a muck around and a blast with the guys, and then Sunday tournament day. That's the plan at this stage. Lastly, a bit of news here. The Ironmen have announced a 13-man roster as well as a 3-person coaching team for the 2023 season. That is enormous. I don't know of any team that has ran a 13-man roster. I know Impact used to run 11 or 12. 13 is massive. You'll notice that there's some Seattle Thunder talent there. So like Paddy Gleason, Corey Field have joined the team, as well as some divisional players that may or may not have had pro experience on other teams. And then guys like Keith DeVitt coming back on board, who's been with the Ironmen in the past. He's actually been out to Australia in the past as well, going back a few years. So I think the Ironmen are an improved team on paper. They've been real hit and miss the last couple of years, particularly last year. I'm not even sure, someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't even know if they made a Sunday last year. I think they pretty well stunk the joint up for most of the year, which is very unlike the Ironmen. So hopefully they have a better year for their sake. Dyer's obviously pouring a bunch of money in. Like I said, 13-man roster. They've got Shane Pastana, Mike Paxson, and Nikki Evers, I think it is. The 3 sort of people working together as a coaching crew. So yeah, incredible. Chris Dickens just joining in at the moment as well. Thanks for checking it out, mate. So yeah, big year ahead for those guys. And the first event is only a couple of weeks away, maybe March sort of 9, 10, 11 or something like that for the NXL. It's not all too far away. So if you're a Go Sports subscriber, or if you cancelled at the end of last year and you need to subscribe again soon, well, that will all be coming up in the next couple of weeks. The Super Sevens semi-pro event was run and won on the weekend. Bitchin got the win, as pictured here on your screen. The Immortal Knights from New Zealand coming over, who've been in the semi-pro division, but rolled out a new look roster with a few new faces, including Cam Jones from Canberra and Scotty from up in Queensland coming down to join the guys. They got second, and the Wicked Warriors got third, beating Phoenix out for fourth. Phoenix actually finished third in the prelims, but it was like a logjam. If you look at the scoreboard, it was quite close, and the Wicked Warriors only just edged out the Wicked Assassins to get the final spot. So yeah, really close there. You see Ryan Newman on the left-hand side of your screen alongside Mike. So Ryan Newman jumped in with the guys. A few of the teams had one pro-level player playing with them. And I seen not that long ago that the Bitchin guys said that they really, it was really valuable having Ryan on board. And I mean, Ryan has played at the pro level for a few years now, with Marauders not playing this year. Very, very handy acquisition to jump on board with the guys and help them out. So congrats to Bitchin on the win. Yeah, and I spoke to players from teams, a few different teams earlier today, and all reports were field layout was great. Refs were really good. Everyone enjoyed it. The only little bit of a negative that I heard is that the paint was bouncy. But like I said, I think it was, and someone might be able to tell me in the chat, that it was somewhere in like the region of the low to mid 30s temperature wise, and really humid. The Victorian guys said they struggled with the heat up there on the weekend. And yeah, so I guess if I was giving out any advice for the pro teams this weekend coming up, have some sort of way of managing your paint, whether that's eskies, whatever the case might be. Keep your paint cool as best you can. Take some towels if it's going to be a bit oily and sweaty. Everyone is going to be dealing with the same stuff, and the teams that do it best will benefit the most. Jordan saying that he agrees. Simo saying great comms from Ryan. Yeah, one of the strengths of his game. And the more experienced you get, the more second nature that communicating on the field becomes. I can like vividly recall playing events in the early days of my playing career, and you play first and then think to communicate second. And the more experience you get, you play and communicate as you go. And the communication aspect, especially of when you've played with the same group of guys for a long time, it just starts to click. It can be difficult, and like the Wicked Warriors, Esteban mentioned earlier, a lot of those guys hadn't played together as the full five-man. Some had before and some hadn't. But finding your feet as a team and communicating as a team is a bit of a challenge in itself. And you'll just get better throughout the year if you keep your core group of guys together. So hopefully that's the case for the Wicked Warriors and for everyone in the semi-pro division. If the talent across the board is so even, it makes for a good year for everybody. Quick mention for Anthrax here. They've got some new team packs, and they're all going by these heat-related names. So the Burning Pack, the Lava Pack. There is another one called the Hot Pack. But they are all based around getting a fully custom jersey, in addition to some other things such as shorts, t-shirts, hoodies, tracksuits, all the various gear that Anthrax offer, and they offer a lot of gear. You can pick it up in these packs and save money on the packs as opposed to buying the gear individually. There is add-on items such as the Spartan pants that you can also get in your team's custom designs. So yeah, if you're interested in any of that, you can get in touch with me and I can help you get in touch with the guys from Anthrax to pick up some new gear. Anthrax jerseys are the ones that Asylum have worn for, it must be going on 5 years now, maybe longer. I rate them as good, if not better, than any other company out there. And in addition to that, you can get these packs now where you can also get shirts, shorts, hoodies, and all the good gear. Chris Dickens saying Anthrax makes some amazing gears. And Simo saying, look really good, great product. Jordan Bradshaw says it looks very cool. Yep, totally agree. And Simo saying, would have seen it with me. I was so quiet. Yeah, I think it's just a natural thing. There's not many people that come into the game and have great communication immediately. It's something that you can teach, and we definitely have with our team, and I've seen it in other teams, particularly with events like the Wagga 3-man. We've seen teams come and struggle the first year or two that they come, and then they come back, and the players have just grown so much, and they're more, you see more of their personality in the pits, you see more of their personality and their play style on the field. Everybody just finds their own way, and it takes a little bit of time. Lachlan from PPG saying, we love our Anthrax gear. The sponsorship program has been decent for our 2 years with them so far. Yeah, absolutely. And you can get involved in that. Asylum actually isn't involved in that particular program, but the longer you stay on board with Anthrax, the better the pricing gets. And you get some rewards along the way too. They just start sending you stuff if you stay involved and if you progress. So if you become a pro team here in Australia, if you start winning semi-pro or pro events, well, Anthrax notice that and they reward you for doing it. Wimpy, so Will McDonald saying the old Raza jerseys were like winter Doonas. Yeah, that's probably the best way to explain the old paintball assassin jerseys going back some time. Very similar. Heavy, padded. In the summertime, it was just brutal at some events. So, yeah, the lightweight stuff, and Anthrax do it better than just about anybody. It is definitely the way to go. But the show is sponsored by Paintball Assassin, who now have their Ventilate jerseys, PB Athlete, who have lightweight jerseys, their Strike jerseys, I believe they're called, and of course Anthrax, who have the Messiah jerseys, as well as other designs. Their semi-pro is also quite lightweight as well. So you've got plenty of good options, and some of the best are sponsors of this show. So you can't go wrong. Previews for the pro weekend. There will be 6 teams competing this weekend. 15 balls per second, Mercy 4 format. The webcast will be running Saturday and Sunday. 3 rounds to be played on Saturday, 2 rounds plus finals on Sunday. Now, the prize pool is typically over $8,000, but because there is only 6 teams as opposed to 10, so when there is 10 teams, 100% of the prize pool, 9 teams, 90%, 8 teams, 80%, and so on. So 60% of the total prize pool is up for grabs. So I think it's just actually a tick under $5,000. But once you include the medals and the trophies, it probably goes over $5,000 for the prize pool this weekend. It seems to me, with what's going on in the changes in the pro division this current event, is that it almost looks like it's going to be Sydney SWAT and the Eskimo Brothers, who were the top teams last year. Those guys, I would be blown away if they weren't playing finals. And it almost seems like it's a race to fill up the other 2 spots in the finals. I think Colt will surprise some people. They've sort of got some players that haven't had a home the last couple of years and have bounced around on some other teams. They've also picked up some of the guys from Marauders. So they do have a bit of familiarity there. Then the Eskimo Nation and Southeast Cartel have sort of merged together for this event. So I'm not sure how they will play out. They were 2 of the lower ranked teams last year. And I'm not sure what roster they've put together. But given a 6-team competition, it only takes a couple of wins to find yourself in the finals. And then Adelaide Assassins, who were on the way up last year, they're not going to be at this event. The Manawatu Titans will not be there at this event as well. So it's all playing out a little bit different. Richard saying, when can the Bounty Hunters be sponsored by Gladiator? Well, if you keep winning events, mate, I'm sure sponsors will take notice. Teams will obviously take notice too. And that's what it takes. If you see the Gladiator roster of teams, they are teams that are consistently playing finals and winning and getting on the podium at the events that they play. So if your team continues to do that, well, it wouldn't be all too long until someone from Gladiator might just reach out to you as well. So yeah, let me know who you think is going to win the Pro Division at Super Sevens this weekend. Reese saying sevens are unfortunately hurting this year. Sevens are doing well by comparison. There is events that have been cancelled. There's events that have been postponed. I know, speaking to Timmy Colgan, their first event in WA coming out at the end of March. They started growing last year to 7 and 8 teams, and they're looking like they'll be back down to 6 in WA. The Queensland scene, they ran a 3-man earlier in the year and didn't get as many teams as they were thinking. Across the board, and we mentioned it last week on the show, there's a number of factors, most of which coming down to cost of living. Nobody needs to play paintball, okay? That's we need to want to play paintball, but if it comes down to playing paintball and paying your mortgage or buying groceries, well, it's pretty easy to decide what goes to the side. So as a paintball field operator, we're really grateful for everyone who does get out to the field and play. I don't think it's dire straits by any means, but I can certainly understand that some people, it's just a little bit difficult this year to play paintball as much as they may have in previous years. For the record, I don't know the roster that the Eskimo Brothers will be turning out this weekend, but I think that the Eskimo Brothers might win the event from Sydney SWAT second and maybe Colt third, but the third place, it really is a toss-up and could be just about any of the teams. So I guess we'll see how it plays out. Birthdays, quick mention. Dale Langridge from here in Wagga celebrating a birthday. Stevie Browning, birthday coming up towards the weekend. And Grace, who will be with Colt, playing alongside her brother, who I've not seen Ben on the field in a while. Back out playing paintball. Well, yeah, hopefully he's out and enjoying himself on the weekend and celebrating a birthday for Grace. Yeah, make it rain. All have Gladiator bottles and not sponsored by. Yeah, well, that's pretty common too, mate. As a new team coming up, almost no teams when you're first getting into the game are sponsored. You've got to buy your own products, and most people these days are buying Gladiator tanks because they see so many teams around using them, and they're just a great product. No one has issues. They've got all the sizes that you could ever want. So there you go. Simo saying played 13 events last year and will play 4 events this year. Yep, that's pretty common. Well, you'll play, yeah, so 4 Super 7s, maybe the Wagga 3-man. Don't forget us, mate, here at home. Richard saying they're going back for the Super 7s for round 2. That's great to hear for the Bounty Hunter guys as well. Yeah, so that's everything that I've got for tonight's show. I hope, I mentioned earlier, if you want more paintball tonight and you've got an Amazon Prime account, I think you can even sign up for a 14-day free trial or 7-day free trial, whatever the case it might be. Amazon Prime, go and watch The Best Kids in Texas doco. Really enjoyable stuff, runs an hour and a half worth watching. Otherwise, please join me in the chat on the weekend. I've got bookings Saturday this weekend, but I think my Sunday's clear, and I'll be checking out the Super 7s on the Sunday. So join me in the chat right here on YouTube for that one. Oh, okay. Well, hold on. Come on in, buddy. If you've seen earlier tonight, my son Carter, he's taken a real interest since I've been on YouTube. Do you want to say hello to everyone?
Hello.
Hold on. I'll lift you up a little bit higher. And I'm about to say goodbye. Do you want to say goodbye to everyone and have a good week?
Yeah.
What you say? Goodbye. Have a good week.
Goodbye. Have a good week.
All right. Catch you guys. Thumbs up for everyone. Thumbs up. Yeah. Perfect. All right. Catch you guys. Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye.
Say, is it free?
Sure is, mate.